funding dollars. We've had ARPA dollars that have really allowed us to make an impact on the community. But we still need to figure out what we're gonna do for the future. I mean, ARPA dollars are one-time dollars, they are running short. And so we need to figure out what we're gonna do at the county level to maintain some momentum, if not a lot, as well as maintain just our general operating. As the whole community probably knows at this point, because I've talked about it until I'm blue in the face, Benzie County has a general operating millage that was set as indefinite in 1982. It is rolled back since. We went from a 5.29 millage to a 3.774 millage. That's a huge decrease. Benzie County residents see this to compensate for that. We have various small special millages. So I like to call it an a la carte menu of special millages. However, I'm hearing that the community may want that. So we're looking over the next year or so to figure out what is the appropriate way to fund Benzie County. Do we go out for a hazard reset to the community, or do we keep an a la carte menu style millage approach? We're going to be exploring that over the next year. We have created the tax advisory committee, and I am looking for a resident of Benzie County to serve on that committee. So if anyone would like to serve, and we're going to be talking about what is the best way to approach the community to fund Benzie. During these conversations, we'll talk various about the needs of Benzie, the wants of Benzie County, as well as the community. So planning forward to the future, lots of things we're thinking about at the county level. One idea that we're tossing around and discussing is how to improve and enhance emergency services. As everybody knows, we have a Benzie County run ambulance service, and we're looking for ways to expand that and possibly partner with some of our townships. Animal control as well. We are in a small, pretty outdated space, and so we're evaluating that space and seeing, is that where we want to be? How do we expand and where? We're also taking a focus on community and economic development. Benzie County has a lot of opportunity in community and economic development. So from a county level, we're talking through those things and figuring out what is the best path forward for Benzie County to make an impact in the realm. Digital equity and inclusion, that goes along with broadband. So many of the ISPs and local governments have received a great deal of money related to broadband, but with broadband and the infrastructure, it's digital equity. Yes, we can provide the infrastructure and provide the service, but do people know how to access and use it? And so digital equity and inclusion is to really explore that and figure out the best path forward for Benzie County to help their residents use the service that we're providing. We've already talked about a possible heavily reset of the general operating. We're also working on some internal things, internal controls, including cybersecurity, and addressing some internal habits. So I need to hear from you. I'd love for you all to write down this email address. I want to hear from you as Benzie County residents. Where do you think the local government should be involved and make an impact in our community? What do you want to see us focus on? We have mandated services that we will always provide, but we want to provide more to our community. And so I'd love for everyone's feedback in the audience when you have time. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. We appreciate the work that you and the county commissioners are doing for Benzie County. Next up, we will now welcome our very own mayor of the city of Frankfort, Joanne Alberta, to give us a state of Frankfort.
Can you hear me now? I'm a little shorter. Good morning and welcome Representative Copia for taking time out of your very busy day to be here in Frankfort. I had to write everything down because I have a tendency to wander, so. The city of Frankfort has been very, very, very busy on our community projects, enhancing the quality of life in our beautiful city. One of those being the housing shortage. Recognizing the need, the city created the Housing Commission and the Land Trust We are very fortunate to have a community of volunteers helping with the solution. The Land Trust, now a nonprofit organization consisting of volunteers, constructed 2 homes for sale. One, or with 2 more to be completed by the end of 2024. The Benzie County Commissioners provided $120,000 from their ARPA funds. The Land Trust was awarded the Initiative Missing Middle Grant in the amount of $240,000. Thank you, Benzie County and Initiative. The other projects in progress is the 12-unit townhouses at the east end of Main Street called Lake and Main Apartments. This too is due to the help from Benzie County in the amount of $500,000. From their ARPA funds, Misha awarded $600,000 from the Missing Middle Grant for the project that Betsy spoke about. John Stimson from Homestretch is heading up the development. The completion of the project is expected to be completed by the end of 2024. And I understand people are already applying to be able to be a resident there. With these projects underway, the Planning Ad Hoc Committee looked into adding an ordinance for attainable workforce housing district. They had a workshop with our planning consultant to develop such an ordinance, which is now known as Article A. Short-term rentals are not permitted in these districts. Other tools that were adopted by the city were the State of Michigan bills number 236 and 237, allowing attainable housing district and residential district ordinances. Both districts allow property owners to submit for a tax break by providing workforce housing. It's not my understanding that the city of Frankfurt is the first to have an ordinance for attainable workforce housing, as well as those 2 bills. A short-term rental ordinance was also put in place with a limit of 120 for our community. We appreciate the state putting a pause on the bill for short-term rentals, and hopefully they'll let each community decide the number of short-term rentals. The previous proposed one would have mandated the city have 330 short-term rentals, so that would not fit in our community at all. As a result of our housing projects, the city hosted a workshop with Amy Hovey and Tony Lynch, I hope I pronounced that correct, from Mischief, which was quite an honor for us to have come and visit our community. Also present were representatives from our largest employers, Graceland, Paul Oliver Hospital, the Maples, and the Frankfurt, Alberta Area School Superintendent Jeff Towson. Those representatives voiced the obstacles that they face in staffing because of the lack of housing. After the workshop, all went on a tour through the city to see projected sites where most land trust homes could be built, which we have several, as well as rentals. There is also a projected daycare attachable site near the Frankfurt High School. The DPA was formed in August of 2015. They have implemented a marketing website promoting Frankfurt, working on Main Street corridor improvements, wayfinding, signage, and business accelerators. They provided the funding for the upgrade of the beautiful holiday decorations and the light pole banners. We really appreciate something that the city wasn't able to take out of their funds. Another proposed project the city has been working on for almost 2 years is a business accelerator that wishes to utilize the site previously known as the Recreation Center. It would be a freshwater lab with several universities participating. High school students could also take part in the learning lab. The building would also have a section for community events and a commercial kitchen. 2 years ago, the city hired a full-time fire chief. The department went from 10 to 27 members. The state of Michigan Fire Equipment Grant awarded the department, and I think Benzie was accountable for that, $40,000 for turnout gear. Thank you, Michigan. Our department, along with 10 regional departments, are applying for the AFG. This grant is for new air packs. One air pack costs $10,000. The department also has a 33-year-old ladder truck that requires constant repairs to pass inspections. Needless to say, the department is looking for state or federal grants to purchase a new ladder truck. Due to the 3-story buildings within the city, this truck is a requirement. The county was able to secure a grant through Robin for a communication tower near the fire station. As beautiful as Frankfurt is, we have hills that hinder the department from receiving 911 calls. They come out garbled and sometimes don't even come through. Due to the tower requiring broadband, a line will be run into the city earlier than anticipated. We were at the bottom of the list because we didn't have that many that didn't have internet. The city is about to complete 2 grants within this year for public restrooms, one being on our beautiful Lake Michigan Beach and one in Bellows Park and Crystal Lake. Both grants are from the state of Michigan. The city does not have a grant writer. However, our city superintendent, Josh Mills, has written in the last 23 years to the tune of over $5 million. Thank you, Josh. Of course, all of this could not have happened without the amazing teamwork the city The city is very diligent about watching the finances of its taxpayers. A huge thank you to our community volunteers, staff, Benzie County, and the state of Michigan.
Thank you. We have one final round of applause for Representative Benzie Sophia. Thank you so much for joining us today. Next up, we would like to welcome our education panelists to the stage, so if you could make your way this way. And also our moderator, Jan Carnage of the Advocates for Benzie County.
Good morning. 8 years ago, when Advocates for Benzie County was formed, one of the priorities was education. And over the years, the group has tried to be supportive of educational efforts in the county. This morning, it's a delight to welcome to our panel Kyle Taylor, who is the principal at Benzie Central High School, Matt Stapleton, the principal at Frankfurt, Alberta, Nick Nosley, the president of NMC, and Maggie Bacon, the director of Best Benzie County. And we'll begin by taking a look back over the last year, since last year's summit. Kyle, Matt, and Nick, could you give us a bit of an update on what's happening in terms of programming and renovation, construction during 2023? And Maggie, a word about the Student Career Expo and your work with FAFSA applications in whatever order you like.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay out there? Okay. A little bit of an update from the college in terms of some key things going on. One, we are undertaking a campus master plan along with having just completed a strategic plan. And one of the key things that's going to be coming out of that is the very high likelihood of additional housing on campus. You've obviously heard that beginning with the legislative panel this morning, how important that is. It's even more important if you're a Benzie County student wanting to come to NMC, because trying to find affordable housing in Traverse City is a challenge. On campus, we provide heavily subsidized on-campus housing, whether in dorms or in apartments. So it's very likely here in these next couple of years, we're going to be building additional dorms, additional apartments to allow students, whether they're coming from Benzie or any of the areas, other areas throughout the state, to have affordable housing on campus. That's one thing that you're going to see coming into college. Another is we're going to be renovating a new student services hub. And the reason for that is we know that when a student doesn't need to run around campus trying to find financial aid, counseling, all those other services, if they're in one spot, there's a higher likelihood they're going to persist and be retained. In other words, they're going to be successful finding their way to graduation. So we're renovating one of our buildings to be that one-stop shop. So again, make it easy. So if you're that student coming from Benzie, it's going to be easy to find your way around campus, or easier to find your way around campus. A couple programs that we're going to be innovating. Our aviation program is the only aviation training program in the state at a community college. It's over 50 years old, and within 2 years, a student can find themselves easily making $100,000 as a pilot. We're very proud of that program. The challenge for us, it has a 2-year waiting list. So we're in need of buying new airplanes, which run about $700,000 a piece, but those new airplanes will get more students in the program and more pilots out there in the community. So we're very excited with about a $10 million investment to help expand our aviation program. Also, I'll highlight another new program that's literally new this spring, which is a combination of our culinary program and our maritime program. As you know, many of those large boats out on the Great Lakes and flying the oceans too need cooks and chefs on board. And we've got a new program that's helping educate chefs to serve on those ships out on the Great Lakes. Our first class is presently taking their galley cooking, which means they need to learn how to cook in a space that's about the size of an airplane restroom, which is obviously a challenge. So those are some of the new programs, and I think with that, I'll turn it over to Kyle.
Good morning. Thank you for having me today. Lots of new renovations at Benzie. So we had our grant. We're still rolling through the grant right now. So all of the floors, the ceilings, new furniture for all the classrooms. Cafeteria got completely renovated and finalized this year. We've got a new weight room that we utilize, and community has the ability to come utilize as well, which I think is great for the community, that you're able to come in as well and utilize that. New gym floors. So our gyms look completely different than what they did before. We've got new seating in those gyms as well. And so everything kind of has a facelift. And so we put back, I don't know if anyone's been there for a while, but we put back the hallway. So we used to have a giant computer lab that took up the hallway, and now the hallway's back, which is great for flow and systems with our kids getting to and from class. So lots of new things going on as far as renovations, and thank you for the grant, because that's what makes this happen. So so we appreciate that. As far as programs, so we've added kind of an early education program that we're starting up at Benzie, and looking to kind of partner up with other schools too. So that's kind of exciting to do. And then we also have lots of new ways that we're trying to innovate and get kind of a start with some of our entry level systems. So what we see is we see CPC classes going on. And so how can we get those foundation classes going at Benzie as well? So kind of exciting times to kind of keep growing and continue to innovate in the ways that we need to innovate here at Benzie. So thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi there, everybody. I'm Matt Stapleton. I'm the principal at Frankfurt Middle School and High School. And just as Kyle said, we're going through a huge process with regards to renovations. We took a big step last year with regards to making our building a 6-8 building. We had traditionally been a 7-12 building, and now we're creating a 6-8 building within, a school within our current school. And it's been quite a, I guess, journey is the way to put it. We have all those youngsters at the building now. It's really created some really good conversations, not only with our upper level kids for mentoring and to help, but also for more opportunities for our middle school kids. And as Kyle mentioned too, the renovation piece has been huge. We added a wing for those middle schoolers. We have 4 brand new classrooms and a conference room, and they're utilized every single day. We have over 105 kids down there. And in this particular case, our taxpayers and the community really rallied around our bond and put us in a position to do these renovations. And then along with the middle school addition, we also have a state-of-the-art ceramic studio that was added. We've had a top-notch program for years, and this allowed us to kind of expand. It's now attached to our classroom, the same teacher, et cetera. And we have community members come in to use that as well for some of the classes that we have. And then also, we're renovating our shop area, and we added a full-time pantry. Our shop area now will have a spray room and a finish room and some of the other things that go with that. So that's been pretty good for us. We also renovated our middle school locker rooms, and those had been renovated since the inception of the building back in 1958. So they were due for an upgrade and a change. And through all the summer months and until the start of the year, we weren't sure how we'd be getting into the building, and we're there. And there's a lot to be said about the workers, but then also the coordination with our superintendent, Mr. Towsley, Frank Heikens, and all the other people that have to make that stuff happen. As far as programming goes, we've been in a situation where we've added a few things. We have anatomy and physiology now. We have robotics now in the building. We've added bowling. And some other things. And then now we're in the process of trying to revamp our curriculum for 6, 7, 8, because we have this opportunity with some more staff in the building and having some unique programming for the middle school. So it's been a great journey over the last few years. We have more projects coming, but we can't say thanks enough to the community for helping us get to where we're at right now.
So I get to be the one that's really lucky to be sitting between these two guys, because almost everything I'm gonna talk about has to do with these two guys. So, for anyone who doesn't know, that both these high schools, the 2 Rotary clubs in Benzie County and the Chamber join forces every fall to put on a career expo for high school seniors. Both schools do so much that I don't think people know about from 8th grade on in terms of college and career readiness. But what we do at the end of that, or beginning of that senior year, is we pull those seniors together And we give them this opportunity and we sort of changed things up a couple of years ago. I call it speed dating, but it's not really speed dating. It's more like the experience that somebody has when they're in a vendor expo at a conference. And so we invite as many businesses as we can, who are local businesses, to come into an area. It was the gym. 1 year at Benzie, 1 year at Frankfurt, and this year we were really fortunate to be able to do this at Crystal Mountain. And I think that made a huge difference for our kids. I think that they really looked at it somewhat differently, but they get the opportunity to meet one-on-one with businesses to learn about what it is that they might want to prepare for. As they're thinking about their career, but we also have the military there, we have NMC, we have the Human Services Collaborative. So it's their first opportunity to really get a sense about what that next step for them is gonna be. We have door prizes and bingo, and then we also typically do a keynote speaker who talks about finding their passion or being able to identify where it is they want to go in life. Then the other thing I think you asked me to talk about was and so please don't all go to sleep when I say this, okay? The fast. So it's important. The federal government this year, bless their hearts, are trying to make that free application process more simple. And I'm thinking that when we get through this year, maybe they will have achieved something. So the start of the process was delayed for people to be able to get their financial aid. And I think the biggest issue right now has to do with, I think it was delayed from October to December. And really more like January. And as students are starting to apply for college, they're running into trouble that their FAFSAs have not been completed, and the colleges aren't quite sure what their package is going to look like. But so the biggest issue right now has to do with that. But our two high schools offer this year, I'm going to say, we seem to have made it through COVID now. Benzie actually put on a parent night that Frankfurt also participated in that was probably the most successful in the last 4 years. Parents really showed up, students really showed up, and they were really interested. So that was exciting. And then Best Benzie County, we actually put on FAFSA clinics throughout April and May for those people, we call them late completers, somebody who hasn't been able to do it this year, they'll just be on-time completers would be my guess. And then at the end of the year, we give out 2 $500 Best Buy gift cards to a FAFSA completer during each school's award night.
Great, thank you. And now looking ahead, the year ahead, share with us a little bit about some of your plans for the future at high schools and at the college as you're anticipating 2024 and the year ahead.
I'll get us started here. Again, can you hear me? I don't hear myself as well, but I'll tell you the most exciting thing happening at NMC right now. You probably have heard about the Freshwater Research and Innovation Center. And we received about $15 million of state support, an additional $5 million, so about $20 million of state support for beginning private philanthropic support for what's going to be about a $30 or $40 million investment. And you might say, well, what is that? What is Freshwater Research and Innovation Center? What's it intended to do? You might have heard the language of blue tech, and blue tech refers to technology that's oriented around water. And as we're well aware here in Northwest Michigan, we have this most incredible resource, natural resource of the beautiful Lake Michigan in our backyard. How do we help contribute to preserving, protecting, enhancing that water resource for future generations? And blue tech is about that. How do we develop the technology that's going to help us with that? So we're undertaking this Freshwater Research and Innovation Center to help support that. It'll also be a regional economic development initiative because you're bringing researchers from around the state, from around the country, and from around the world to do that research in that Freshwater Research and Innovation Center. So it'll be that blue tech driven. I'll give you a very concrete example of something we're doing right now that's beginning that work. And it's a project that we're referring to as aqua hacking. And Aqua Hacking is a project that we're doing with a Canadian not-for-profit partner called Aqua Action. Aqua Action has about 25 years of experience developing water-based entrepreneurs. People who have ideas about how to protect, preserve, enhance water resources, but utilizing technology. They're making their first foray into the United States with us in a partnership. And right now we're running a course, a year-long course, which has 161 students in it. Primarily Canadians, but a lot of Americans and actually students from 5 countries. And they are coming to campus with us 3 times over this year. This spring, they're going to be making pitches of their technology. And the first prize pitch is competing for $30,000, $20,000 second, $10,000 third place. So there's real dollars connected to this to help these entrepreneurs who we hope are going to stay in our region and develop these technologies that are going to help better our resources. So the Freshwater Research and Innovation Center is a project that we're really excited about. That obviously doesn't benefit just Traverse City, but all of Northwest Michigan.
So this coming year, we're really looking at trying to add more opportunities for kids. One of the greatest things we have is we moved our digital literacy, which is our computer class that we have, into the 8th grade. And what we found is that transition to 9th grade is hard enough with our kids, and trying to give them the opportunities to have that computer, and that's basic skills computers, learning what they need in order to be successful in high school and beyond. We moved that into 8th grade. And so not only does that help our students move forward with opportunities in other classes, but it also teaches those kids and their parents that we're already forward thinking into high school. We're already getting high school credits in middle school. We're already thinking about what else we could do. The next step with that is looking at the technology classes that we need to add. We're looking at grants here at our schools to try to add in more technology classes. So coding, engineering, robotics, programming, computer repair. Those are all classes that we're looking to try to add in to integrate more technology into our students. Because as we get into more of a digital age, we've got to prepare our students for the future. So the other opportunities we have, we kind of revamped our academy program, our campus over there, because we really need more flexible scheduling with a lot of our students. Some of our students work in the afternoons. They need classes in the mornings. So this allows them to have some more opportunities there. We have a world-class motorcycle racer who goes to school at our school. And the academy allows him to go travel the country, take classes, and still stay on track. He's actually had to graduate now. And so that flexible ability there really helps our kids out. And so we've kind of transformed that academy into a forward-thinking school rather than something that it wasn't before. And so giving them those opportunities and the flexible scheduling allows a lot of our students to have other opportunities in the community to help support with jobs, but then also to have them think about what they can do because it's self-paced. So they get to move forward as fast as they want to move forward. So giving them those opportunities will be something that we continue to grow as well. We're also looking into more of the construction and welding side of it. So when I talk about building foundation classes, it's not about taking away from CTC, it's about building and supporting that foundational plan. So that our kids actually get some of those skills first here in our schools. And then if that's something they want to expand and grow on more, they go to CTC and they can look at that. So just building some of those opportunities there, because a lot of our students really don't know what they want to do. And so if we can give them that first taste on some of those here at Benzie, then they'll have a better idea and a plan moving forward. Because really it's that career path that we're trying to help them understand and learn and grow, so then they get those opportunities either at our school or at CTC as they continue on with that, so.
Thanks, Kyle. As far as, we'll get to programming in just a second. As far as like what we talked about earlier with our buildings and our bond I think our school board and our SUP had a great vision when they went to the bond because they put it in phases. And so we're able to complete this last phase that we had with regards to adding the new classrooms and getting the middle school here. And now we're doing a lot of infrastructure projects with regards to, technology, flooring, windows, lightings, all those things. Also roofs is a big thing for us. We put it off a few years ago so we could, build the middle school, and now it's time for that to happen as well. We're doing a renovation of our track that is long overdue, doesn't happen in a long time. And I'd say the current board is also doing a great job of strategic planning moving forward, because we're trying to put state-of-the-art things in our kids' hands, look at scheduling options, look at new classes, look at things that we can have for our kids, not only for now, but also for the future. So we're talking about 2 years out, 3 years out, 5 years out. What is this going to look like in 9 years? And so that long-term planning, I think, is going to, continue to help get our kids not only in that position, but also with our building projects, it's allowing us to keep and maintain what we have, but also since we're doing it in phases, we're going to be in really good shape here in the next few years as well. And one of the big projects I also talked about is our parking. A lot of how our parking set up, and sometimes that can be a nightmare at the high school, but also we're working on maybe a different drop-off area for busing, maybe some different ways to come into the building and out of the building. And so all those things are part of those discussions, which are great. As far as new programming goes, I mentioned the middle school, we're looking at options there. Right now, we're in the process. We have a May 1st date set up to have either some changes in what we're offering for students, but also more options, so our kids aren't taking as many virtual classes. We're giving them in-person classes in our building.
So I'm just gonna make this pitch. This isn't really my job, but it is sort of. I know that there were a minute ago, 2 county commissioners in the room, and I just want to point out that these 2 high schools are really working hard to try and figure out how to bring back some skilled trades to the county. So I think that's just important to note. And that is my job, I guess, to promote what it is they do. Probably the biggest thing happening, I think, in K-12 education, or actually high school senior education, has to do with what happens right afterwards, and it's the Michigan Achievement Scholarship is probably the biggest thing that's happening that can be a game changer, I think, for our students. And the reason I mention it is because if somebody is eligible for the Michigan Achievement Scholarship, they are eligible for up to $2,750 to attend a Michigan Community College per year, for 3 years, $4,000 to attend a private college, and $5,500 to attend a Michigan Public University. But here's the cool thing about this program. It also gives money for career training. So somebody doesn't really necessarily want to do the college path. There's up to $2,000 for 2 years for an industry recognized certificate and a faster track to a higher paying career. I would also be remiss, I know this is primarily K-12, although it includes NIC, if I did not mention that this year, actually starting in January, the Benzie area Christian Neighbors have started with seed money from the Benzie Sunrise Rotary, an adult learner scholarship for someone who's returning to school as an adult.
Thank you. And maybe just if each of you would be able to share just a word about our students. What are the careers that they're interested in? Where are they going after high school? What are you seeing in terms of our students?
Jack, I'd be remiss too if I didn't mention, specifically as we think about Benzie County students and how they find their way to NMC. We presently have about 180 Benzie County students who are students at the college. That peaked at about 300 back during the Great Recession, because as you probably know, during times of recession, community college enrollment peaks because many students are coming back trying to retool or figure their way through that challenging time. But we also know that in Benzie County, there's about 6,000 residents between 25 and 50 who don't have a post-secondary certificate or degree, who could potentially find their way to NMC or into post-secondary education. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that obviously over these last 3 months, we've been having conversations or I've been holding a lot of listening sessions, almost 15 in the last 3 months, about 15 more scheduled through March or April. From the Alberta Methodist Church to the Inland Township Eagles and everywhere in between, trying to listen to the citizens of Benzie County and hear what they want and how we might make an annexation work. Because we know that for a county, for a region to thrive, you have to have affordable, accessible post-secondary education. That could be one of the biggest economic drivers for a region. So we're obviously interested in trying to help explore that conversation. And a shameless plug, I know the advocates for Benzie County are holding a dinner on this coming Tuesday. And that'll be at the gathering place. And if you're interested in learning more about that annexation and how we can better serve the students and ultimately the residents and the prosperity of this county, we'll be doing that now.
All right, I'm gonna make my pitch right now. Also, this afternoon, 1 o'clock, the advocates and us are gonna host a listening session right here. So all of you are welcome to stick around from 1 until about 2:15 to listen to what Nick has to say about annexation and to be able to ask questions and give him some feedback in terms of what it is Benzie County needs in terms of a community college. Sorry.
Well, I'm just gonna reemphasize what State Representative Kofi already said, which is transportation is vital. We have kids who are hungry to want to participate in college, and a lot of times it's how far do I have to drive? Where do I have to go? You know, and transportation in general is difficult for a lot of our students, and so you know, the online classes are options, but not everyone learns very well online. We know that from COVID. And so trying to give the options to our kids, where can they go? What can they do? You know, creating the opportunities in the programs. I mean, you know, when we talk about what programs do we have that our kids want to do with Benzie, you know, electrical, manufacturing, you know, we have welding, auto repair. Those are big ones, nursing. All things that they really want to do. Cosmetology, we don't have that, but that's one that we get a lot of students asking about that. And, you know, I know there's a school in Traverse City for that, but, you know, as far as building that support in the high school, we don't have. And so those are things that our kids are interested in. And a lot of times they don't even know what they're interested in. And so you really sit down and have that one-on-one conversation. I know I had several students who were interested in physical therapy. They didn't know that until we had conversations about what do you like? What do you do? You know, a lot of them were athletes, but then they really talked about how they worked out whatever injury they had and what they did and what they learned from that. And so, you know, that's a lot of it, is giving them the opportunities and what can they do? What can they try? And then really kind of building those supports. I know technology is going to be a big one. I know CTC started working on an engineering program. But, you know, trying to get our kids to say, yeah, I can do that. So, kind of how that goes. But, what?
That was well said, Kyle, I mean, perfectly stated. In our building right now, we're at about 89% at this point that are committed to either some type of post-secondary education or trade school, or looking at an apprenticeship or something like that. But as Scott mentioned, it goes back to our relationships and kids' knowledge, but kids' understanding of what it takes to be part of the local workforce. I think about some of our businesses have been in our buildings. We do mock interviews with our seniors where they've actually hired kids out of those interviews. Just because number one, they need some people in the workforce, but also because it's things that our kids are interested in. And I just think that continued, I guess, partnership with local, trades, as far as understanding like what's available, what it takes to do, to be part of that job force. And the reality is, I mean, we might have 90%, committed to post-secondary, but about maybe 15% of those that will stick. And so in this particular case, we want to make sure our kids have an understanding and know what options they have after school, and be able to chase their passion, because as Scott mentioned, there's some things right now that they're telling us that they're really interested in. So we need to form some partnership to make that happen.
Thank you all. Just a final word of invitation. As Maggie said this afternoon at 1 o'clock, Nick will be presenting their vision for NMC and possibilities of a relationship with Benzie County. You're welcome to come and bring your questions and feedback. And on Tuesday night, 6 o'clock at the gathering place, Nick will be reporting on what he's been hearing out of these sessions as NMC continues to consider possibilities for Benzie County. Thank you to our panel and to our leadership in education in Benzie County. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. We appreciate your help with moderating this panel and recognize your passion for education in the county. And thank you again to all of our panelists for contributing to this valued discussion. We will now welcome one of our sponsors, Traverse City Tourism, Trevor Koch, up to share the stage with me and give a tourism update. And Joe, you should have a background for me. Welcome. Welcome, Trevor.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, giving me a moment to say a few words this morning. You know, it's always a pleasure to be out here in Frankfurt and see Mayor Joanne. We hang out mid-September on a nice morning every year for the start of the Ironman event. This will be our 4th year, and a lot of accolades for this particular race. In fact, I was looking this up last night. The Michigan 70.3 triathlon was named the most recommended race in the world for Ironman, the best bike race, and the best overall race in North America. So congratulations, that's great, that's awesome. And it's really special. I would also say that it's the best national anthem is sung right here by your granddaughter, which is always a special treat that morning. But it's a big part of the economic machine that we depend on here in northern Michigan, in this region. That event, among other things, is what Traverse City Tourism gets involved with to try to make sure that we have a robust, sustainable tourism economy year-round. And as we look at economic impact for the region, the 2022 results of our economic impact show that there's roughly $1.4 billion of economic activity associated with tourism. And those are big numbers, and it's hard to really wrap your head around $1 billion, but 1.4 billion is up 100 million from the year prior. And from a job standpoint, that's almost 9,000 jobs in our region. And to get a better understanding of what that means, 1 in every 6 workers in our region works in hospitality and tourism. In Benzie County, 1 in 3 work in tourism. So it's very important to a lot of people in this room, very important to our region. And so we work hard to try to make sure that that stays strong into the future. The challenges with Mother Nature this year, I was talking to John over there from Crystal Mountain. Thank heavens for snowmaking machines, I'll say that, you know, but while Crystal Mountain has done a fabulous job in helping us keep an outdoor recreation story going through the winter, we recognized early on that this was going to be a challenging year, and I will give a lot of credit to the leadership from the hospitality industry in Benzie County, hoteliers who sit on our board and are active with Traverse City Tourism. We actually made decisions to make additional investments in promoting Benzie County specifically during the winter months, and then did additional promotion for the region to tell a broader story beyond outdoor recreation, which traditionally is the story in the winter time. But we've pivoted to talk more about the wonderful indoor experiences we have, the fine dining, wonderful venues like the Garden Theater. Thank you, Katie, for opening your doors today. and just all the other wonderful things that are open year round. And as a native of Traverse City and someone who grew up here, that wasn't always the case. And so we need to remind the rest of the world that we are open year. That this isn't a seasonal destination anymore, but we actually are doing business 365 days a year. And so while I won't say that the campaign and the work we've done is filling the gap entirely, that has been left behind by the warm weather, that we've been handed, it has helped. Because we can see how other destinations similar to Traverse City are faring, and we're doing better. And in Frankfurt, Benzie County are benefactors of that work too. So I'm grateful to a board and members who understand the importance of keeping the foot on the gas and growing that space. The importance of Pure Michigan ties into this as well, and there's a new group that's been formed that Traverse City Tourism has been a part of, Michigan Association of CBDs has been a part of, called the Hospitality and Tourism Alliance. And this is a group of associations and organizations from all across the state who have a passion for hospitality and tourism industry, even if they aren't necessarily even directly affected by it or a part of it. This was put together by the Michigan Restaurant Lodging Association. And it has also spurred a new caucus in the House, a bicameral, bipartisan caucus, the Hospitality and Tourism Caucus. So we're excited to have a more direct group to work with and help communicate the needs of the industry at a legislative level, hopefully to increase investments in opportunities like Pure Michigan. Pure Michigan opens the door for our state for so many destinations, including Benzie County. A lot of the opportunities would not be accessible to us as far as marketing and promotion nationally and internationally with year-round business opportunity. The high water mark for Pure Michigan was roughly $40 million. It has gone up and down over the years. We are optimistic to get it back to get it up to $50 million. We want to stay competitive with the states around us and make sure that we continue to drive that tourism economy into the future. And of course, we can't do any of this without the great workforce, the people who are on the front lines in our businesses. And to celebrate those folks for the first time ever this year at the Traverse City Tourism Annual Meeting that will be held in May, we will have the High Five Hospitality Award. So anyone in this room who owns a business or works with a business in hospitality, you will have an opportunity to nominate a special person in the workforce in your business or a business you work with that helps keeps this machine moving forward every single day. And there are 10 awards. In Kathy Bussell from our office, Kathy can help you get connected to the opportunities to nominate and more details about what those different awards are. But we are excited to do this. It's a special way for us to say thank you to the people who are getting the good work done every single day. Last but not least, there is a strong connection between tourism and agriculture. That is very obvious here. I'm wearing my Cherry Festival pin today as a reminder of how important that connectivity is, and to try to help keep a good conversation going in northern Michigan and all across the state on this issue. We will be hosting the first ever agritourism summit in Traverse City on May 8th at the Haggard Center. And this will be an opportunity for farmers or people who work in the farming community to come together with municipal leaders. And this is the hope, is that we get a lot of participation from municipalities to come and understand what it takes to have a sustainable farm, what it takes to keep this industry strong, and to make sure that we have these family-owned farms into the future, because it's such an important part of our economy. And definitely correlates at a very high level with the tourism product that we have in northern Michigan. So this is being put together by the MSU Extension, and I'm hoping that many of you in this room will see value in that, be a part of that as well. So again, Kathy, pink shirt, easy to find today. If you have any questions about how to get engaged with Traverse City Tourism or how to nominate your favorite hospitality worker for our newly creative awards, she can help you on today. So, thank you.
Thank you, Trevor. It's refreshing to know and understand how much Benzie County impacts the overall tourism economy of our region. Next up, we would like to welcome a man that wears many hats, Jim Gribble. He is the executive director of the Benzie County Community Chest, as well as the public relations director for the Friends of the Benzie Valley Trail. Jim is here to give us a recreation update. Welcome, Jim. Joe, would you like to like you?
Well, since I'm gonna be talking about recreation, why don't we take a minute to stand up and stretch a little bit, and then we'll be sitting for a while. And I can get situated so I can see my slides. I think we're right on time, so. I think I'll be a little less than 10 minutes. Okay. So I'm just here to, thank Michelle for inviting me to talk about the Benzie Valley Trail and the Friends. We do a lot of work on the trail, raise a lot of money, etc. And we like to think of it as a Benzie County jewel that connects our communities. Here's a little map of the trail, 22 miles long. The trail is actually owned by the DNR, and it's managed by Benzie County through the appointment of the Benzie Valley Trailway Management Council, and Gary is the chairman sitting back there. Thanks, Gary, for all your work. We're 501c3, dedicated to the development and successful operation of the trail. We support trail development, maintenance, fundraising, promotion, community engagement. And we have this vision for the trail. It's kind of audacious in a way, to really have a world-class trail here in Benzie County that connects healthy and active communities. We have lots of volunteers who take care of the trail and get out there pretty much all summer long. Clearing trees, installing benches. We have a couple of these fix-it stations. We have two now. We have one in Alberta as well as, in Beulah. And we help people to use them. We even give some tutorials from time to time. We put in these warning stop signs, these solar powered flashing stop signs at the highway intersection. We have groups that help us out too. As I put this together a couple of weeks ago, I thought, well, I really need to get some snow in these, but this is about all the snow we're going to see. Thanks to the Cottage Pros. And the Benzie Manistee snowbirds, they groom the trail from Thompsonville up to Beulah, again, when there's snow. Last summer, we put in this 500+ square foot storage facility. And I took this picture right after it got installed because I knew it wouldn't be long before it would be completely filled. And our new trail workhorse is kind of the pride of the storage facility. It's this John Deere Gator that we raised the money to buy. Our trail care coordinator, Charlie Gregory, this is his new toy, he loves it. And it's so nice, we could take our new blower, instead of using personal vehicles, which take up the whole trail when you're out there. The Gator, is about half the trail, and it's a great little vehicle. You can see it's filled with some tools, and in the bed you can put gravel in there, and it has a powered dump, which is nice. And Has wedging capability on the front and the back, which is nice for pulling trees off the trail. We just installed new Wi-Fi at the Beulah Trailhead, and it's free for the public. As well as a trail cam, which is kind of a little announcement today. We haven't announced it publicly, but here's a shot from the webcam. Did I say trail cam? It shows, you can see part of the trail there in Beulah. A couple summers ago, the DNR put in this nice overlook at Lewis Bridge. It's a beautiful little spot. This was the dedication that they had for it. And if you haven't been out there yet, I really encourage you to do so. Not only is there some beautiful benches that have been carved out of whole logs, but we have these interpret panels there that talk about the origins of the Betts Valley Trail and kind of the trailblazers that got it all started. I think there's some of the nicest interpretive panels I've ever seen. So, of course, we're always looking to improve the accessibility and the usability of the trail. We love the fact that Joy to Ride is out there in the summer, every weekend with their folks who have mobility challenges, and they get them out on their special bikes, and it's such a wonderful program. And we're looking forward to at some point expanding that down to Thompsonville. Which kind of leads me to my next thing, again, about usability and accessibility. As you can see, you know, the longest part of the trail is from Beulah to Thompsonville. Yet this 12-mile segment, you know, doesn't get a whole lot of use. At the same time, and this is especially during COVID, the increase in traffic that we saw on the trail, you know, was tremendous. Yet we saw very little additional usage for this segment. The gravel is pretty rough, even for the hardiest of bikers. And, you know, the plans to resurface this 12-mile segment have all been developed, and the project's shovel ready. So we've been working now for well over a year to try to raise the funds to do it. We're looking at maybe $3 million. I just love this little map that's just shows the existing planned and conceptual trails in our part of the state. And as you can see, you know, we're looking to establish Thompsonville once again as a hub for transportation, in the past for rail, and in the future for non-motorized. The TART folks have plans to put in, you know, this beautiful park there, a rail themed park, as well as a campground, and they're about halfway to their goal, the money that they need to do this. It's going to be a game changer for Thompsonville. So, you know, we've raised nearly $600,000, which we're very happy about. We were recently awarded a $400,000 grant, a Spark grant, through the DNR in the state of Michigan, and we wanted to thank our representatives here today, Rafael, and unfortunately Rob is not here. He and I have actually spent a lot of good quality time together. John was great, and Senator Bumstead as well. All three of them wrote letters directly to the DNR in support of our grant, so we greatly appreciate that. I also wanted to thank the county for being our administrator for the $400,000 grant. It's going to be a big project, and we look forward to working with them, and thank them and Katie and her team for helping us. So it's going to start in Beulah. As you can see, it'd be nice to get a better surface here. And in closing, I just want to remind you that besides all the great recreational and health benefits, you know, trails, you know, bring a lot of benefit to our area, you know, during the busy tourist season without much impact to, you know, traffic and parking, etc. So again, you know, we just hope and encourage any of you to help support our vision. Thanks.
Thank you. We look forward to seeing this project gain momentum and to improve our county's care system. We will now welcome Kelly Tomaszewski, Community President of Paul Oliver Memorial Hospital, to give us an update. Joe, you should have a slideshow for her as well.
Good morning. I need every minute, so I got up here a little early. My name is Kelly Tomaszewski. I am the president at Munson Benzie Hospital and also at Paul Oliver. I'm joined in the audience today by Christy Johnson, who is the CNO at Paul Oliver. And I mentioned her because we are going to be hanging around here for the rest of the morning and after lunch. So if there are questions that you think of and you don't get a chance to ask them while I'm presenting today, because we were pretty ambitious with the content, we'll be happy to connect with you and answer any questions that you may have. That looks interesting. It's not exactly right. Okay, there we go. So Munson, it's not to scale, but that's okay. Munson, as you can maybe notice that we have a new logo on the sign that says Munson committed to you. We have a new branding. We haven't done that in a while. And with all the changes and challenges that have been in healthcare over the last 2 or 3 years, we want folks to know we are still committed to you and want to take care of you locally. By the numbers of the care that we provide within our Munson healthcare system, we have about 7,500 employees. We are the largest employer north of US 10. We have 8 hospitals. We provide specialty services for 63 areas. We serve about 540,000 residents. We cover the size of Vermont and Delaware combined, so that tells you the scope of our area. And we provide many ER visits, 142,000. It's not showing it to scale, so I'm gonna look at my notes. About 33,000 surgeries, and that just speaks to that. Paul Oliver, of those ER visits, we provide about 6,000 visits a year. Paul Oliver is a small community hospital, but we are very busy providing many outpatient services and some inpatient services as well. But just so you can see the scope of that, we are very supported by our community here in Benzie and in Frankfurt. So we are very thankful for that support throughout the service area. Healthcare challenges. So if any of you have been paying attention to healthcare over the last few years, we've always had challenges in healthcare and always have to look at change. But really over the pandemic, with most of the people really alive or in healthcare at all, really never experienced that during our career or our lifetime. It really created a lot of unique challenges that we're still recovering from. Expense inflation has gone up. Supplies were hard to come by. Sometimes they still are. And with that challenge with the reimbursement that we receive, sometimes there's a gap in that, and that's something that we have to work through together to make sure we can continue to provide quality services for our patients with those challenges. Staffing challenges. I think most people have heard what we've experienced in healthcare. It's happened in other industries as well, but we've really seen it uniquely in healthcare. Many people that were in healthcare, because healthcare is a challenge, it's extremely rewarding, but doesn't come without challenges. Some people decided not to stay in healthcare anymore. And so that decreased the pool of folks that we have to pull to take care of our patients. And we also had to work with some agency staffing, which was very costly, but it's the most important thing that we do is take care of our patients in our communities. So that's been a unique challenge for us. I think we're seeing the better end of that now. Doesn't mean we don't have any agency, but we are working in creative ways so we can make sure that we recruit the talent that we need and we retain them. That's one of the pillars that we're really focused on at Munson. I don't take care of patients anymore. I've been a nurse for 37 years, but I take care of the people that take care of patients. And so we want to make sure that we recruit excellent talent that wants to work here in Northern Michigan for Munson, and that they want to stay there through their career, and that we provide them really exciting opportunities so they're going to feel motivated and excited about staying here throughout their career. We talked about insurance a little bit. We have different competitors now than we've had in healthcare before. It used to be we would think of competitors as being other hospitals or providers but now we have to compete with Dollar General. Walgreens, and a lot of startups that will come to the community, will start a business, and if it works out great, and if not, they leave. So we have some unique challenges in healthcare. But it's actually, there's been some blessing in COVID, and that it's really taught us that something that maybe would take us a year or two to implement previously, now we can do in a month or two. So it's really made us quicker on our feet. So there's a benefit. Our patients are asking for, more outpatient services, more convenience to entry to care. And that is one of the challenges and one of the things that we really are focusing on. And we'll get into some of those details here in just a minute. So what does all this mean for Paul Oliver? Paul Oliver is a small rural health community hospital, has been for a long time, and we provide a lot of outpatient services that I mentioned. We are busy, which is good. We want to make sure that we can provide those preventative care services, like making sure you get your labs done, if you need radiology services, if you need PT services or physical therapy, OT or speech. We want to make sure that you have access to that close to home. And that is really important to us. In the future slide, I can show you some of those things. And one of the things too that's important is you come to Paul Oliver, we can't provide every service that you need there, but it's really important to us from our end at Paul Oliver to make sure if you come to Paul Oliver and you're seen in the ER, for an example, and then you need to move on for a higher level of care, it's our job to make sure that that is a smooth transition for you and your family. So if you have to go to Cadillac for a higher level of care, or if you need to go to Manistee, or if you need to go to the medical center, we make sure that's a smooth transition and that all of your medical information will flow with you so it's clear and convenient for the next team that's going to be taking care. So these are the all the services that we offer at Paul Oliver. You can see there's some totals, but outpatient visits over 47,000. Does that seem like a high number for what we provide at Paul Oliver? It's great. Emergency visits 6,000, as I mentioned. Lab over 108,000 labs were done last year. Radiology exams 17,000. Therapy 17,000, which is up 5%. We have an amazing team in all of these areas. PT is no exception. Infusion therapy, about 1,700 visits last year, which means if you need to have certain medications that are given that you can't take at home, if you need infusions or injections, or if you need blood, or those kind of things, we offer that service at Paul Oliver Monday through Friday. Cardiac rehab to keep you healthy, 3,500 visits. Surgeries, 451. We do cataract surgeries at Paul Oliver, and then if you need to have a colonoscopy or an upper study done of your GI tract, we're able to offer that as well. And we have dialysis on site, over 2,000 visits this year. Not everybody in the system of Munson has dialysis on site, but we do. And so again, that's that care close to home that's really important to us, that we want to make sure that you're able to receive when you need it. There was just an article in Record Patriot about all of the services that we offer at Paul Oliver. I won't go through all of these because you might have had a chance to read it, and many of them I've already mentioned. But we do provide lab services. I want to just call this out, not only at the hospital, but we also have offsite at Benzie, Empire, and Interlaken. So if you're not necessarily right here, you're a little north of the area, you want to get those labs done, you can get your labs done there as well. We also offer PT, occupational therapy, and speech at those same areas. So those are not on campus necessarily, but they're within the Paul Oliver scope, so we can take care of it. And then specialty care services. We have a specialty clinic right down here downtown in Frankfurt, where we have visiting specialists come. So if you need to receive specialty services, you don't want to necessarily drive to Traverse City or other areas where that's offered. We have clinics, we have visiting specialists that provide OBGYN services, cardiology, advanced wound care, which is great, urology, and orthopedics. So if you're not familiar with that, make sure that you reach out to us. We want to make sure that we can give that information. I've already gotten a card that I need to wrap it up, so I'm going to. One thing that we are very proud of is we just received certification for our stroke program, which is we have 3 neurosurgeons that right up in Traverse City that are just doing amazing work. And that's been in the last few years we've been able to add that. And we are certified in one of the few in the state that have that certification. So you are getting excellent world-class care if you come to our stroke center up in Traverse City. And lastly, we're going to have information available for you about Ask a Nurse and our virtual urgent care. One of the things that I mentioned is that it's important that we get the care to you where you are. You don't always have to come to the hospital or to one of our clinics. We have Ask a Nurse, which is a 24/7 day a week service that has a phone number that you can call on your cell phone. And you can say, I have a sore throat, I'm not sure, or you can, whatever your issue is, you can share that with the nurse. There are standard protocols in place, and based on that, that nurse will triage what your symptoms are. And if she or he think you need to be seen by somebody in the emergency room, they will let you know that, or follow up with your primary care. If it's 2 in the morning and they think you can wait until morning, they will tell you that, which is helpful when you're at home if you're sick or you have a sick child. But also, if they do feel as though you are qualified for a virtual urgent care visit, they will connect you right to that. It's something you do on your phone. I've done it before, and the doctor comes on with a scheduled appointment. They look, you can see each other face to face, and then they can diagnose you. And if they think you need more level of care, they'll refer you, but otherwise, they can call you a prescription, you go pick it up, and off you go. So that's something that's really helpful here in rural health, which we can make sure we can help you with, and that's something that we did roll out with COVID, so that was a wonderful thing to add. And just so you know, we were just, Munson Healthcare was just voted top 15 healthcare systems of mid-size in the nation by Fortune, so that's a big deal too. So feel good about the healthcare that you can receive right here in Northern Michigan. Oh, in Paul Albert just got a wonderful award, Guardians of Excellence Award in 2023, not only for our emergency department, but for our primary care, because we are in the 95th percentile of patient satisfaction, which is really unheard of. It's top in the nation. Usually when you come to the emergency department, you don't wake up thinking you're gonna have an emergency visit, and you come to the emergency department and have a wonderful experience where you actually give it a highest level that you can. We have people that travel from around the area to come to Paul Albert for their emergency care because they get such a great experience. They're all good. Paul Albert is awesome too. So just wanted to give a shout out to our wonderful Paul Albert team. And again, I think that's the end of our slides. Again, thank you so much for your support of Paul Albert and Munson Healthcare. And if you have any questions, please reach out and let us know. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. It's great to understand the service provided by this amazing resource in our community. Next up, I'd like to call up our child care panelists to the stage, as well as their moderator, Sarah May of the Benzie Human Services Collaborative.
Well, thank you everyone for your attention. I know it's been a lot to take in this morning. We've had so many amazing presentations, but childcare affects so many of us, either as parents, grandparents, employees, or employers. And it's one of the top priorities for our community. So I'm really thrilled today that we have these amazing panelists be able to share their expertise and their thoughts on this issue. So let's get started with introductions. Panelists, if you can just share your name, your organization, what role you have in that organization, and how many years you've been working in the early childhood field.
Good morning. My name is Kim Markham, and I work with Northwest Michigan Community Action Agency with their Head Start and Early Head Start programs. We do cover a 10-county area, but my focus for many years has been right here in Benzie County. How many years? Since 2006. I don't know how to do math.
Good morning, I am Susan Hanna, and I am the coordinator of the Early Child Care Network, which subgroup of, or subgroup off that is the Family Child Care Network. Pretty proud as well. Oh gosh, this position for me started back last year, August of 2023, but as a parent of kiddos in the Benzie school system, and their first introduction was Ms. Kim in Early Head Start. So I just have a passion for making sure that our kids are, their education starts the right way, on the right foot.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ashley Lindstrom. I am the owner and director of Whistle Stop Learning Center in Thompsonville. I've been in early childhood for about 8 years now, back and forth between public schools and childcare.
I'm Katie Johnston. I have been in early childhood for about 6 years, all of which has been in Benzie County Schools. So I'm currently the 1755 provider, which is the early childhood special education teacher. And then I also teach the early childhood pathways course at Benzie High School. Hi, I'm Dr. Tanner. I am the director at First Step Stratford here in Frankfurt. I have been in early childhood for about 16 years, most of those years as a program director.
Wonderful. So starting with Rebecca and Katie and Ashley, if you could share with our group just a little bit about over the past year, what you've seen as far as numbers in your daycare centers and what your capacity is for those infants, toddlers, preschoolers. Also just how waiting lists are working and just in general, how that's working with your staff.
So at First Steps, we are licensed for 19 children. That would be 12 infants and toddlers and 7 preschoolers. We are not quite at capacity. Our preschool room is not full, but I would say that's due to staffing. We do have a wait list. Most of the kids on our wait list are infants and toddlers, and our infant and toddlers are full. So we have, in Benzie schools, we have, 7 classrooms. We have 3 at Lake Ann, 3 at Homestead Hills, and 1 at Betsy Valley. They are all full currently. We do have interest coming in every day for new students. So in the last year, we expanded to opening our own classroom, which is a GSRP classroom for 4-year-olds over at Betsy Valley. We also opened an infant toddler classroom at Lake Ann. So currently we have capacity for 12 infant toddlers at Lake Ann and at Homestead Hills. And then 32 preschoolers and 30 preschoolers at both Lake Ann and Homestead Hills, and 16 at Betsy Valley. We also struggle with staffing, finding qualified staff and people that are willing to work for the wages that early childhood educators get paid, and it's a hard job. So we could potentially have more. There are kids around, but staffing is super hard for us.
My center was in a unique position to open in October of 22, so I am fairly new with stop and having just kind of the ebb and flow of numbers that seem to come and go as each school year starts. So I have the capacity for 52 at my center, 12 infants, 11 toddlers, 16 preschoolers, and then some additional school-age children that kind of trickle in here and there. We are at capacity, everything except my preschool room right now, which has a couple of open spaces. We seem to be a center that's kind of a stop in the middle of the road when families really need childcare and they want it closer to Traverse City, but there's not as many opportunities there and availabilities, so they come to us until they get something. So our numbers move a little bit quicker through our wait lists. I have not struggled with staffing. Luckily, I have a really great group of staff that I've had, and we currently have over half of our staff working on their CDA, so that's a really great advantage for our center.
Well, that's wonderful to hear how our centers have grown, especially over the past just year, with school-based and then also with listless staff. Sue works a lot with our home-based providers, and so Sue, I wonder if you could share a little bit about what they're sharing, so they have the daycare right in their homes.
We in Benzie County have 6 licensed home-based childcare centers, home-based providers. They have been sharing with me the concern of the openings in the elementary schools at this point, just because that if a child has a younger sibling and they're attending the school, they're wanting a one-stop shop per se. And so their numbers are going down as those children are transitioning into elementary and or the younger child going into their child, the child care center in the schools. They're not at capacity, many of them, so I remember their infant toddler being the openings that they have. The other concern, and I think we'll be talking about it later, is the universal pre-K for all. Thank goodness the governor is taking steps to ensure that our youngest educators and educated children are being cared for, or there are programs in place or getting work done, but it does pose a problem for the home-based providers in the way that they will require additional training, additional sorry about this, qualifications and curriculum, and being able to take the time, changing a baby's diaper, an infant's diaper, while teaching ABCs, so.
And then Kim, if you could share with the group too, some of the changes that have happened with Head Start over this year, and then how early Head Start is still present in Benzie and what capacity.
Yes, so our Head Start program has changed and worked a little bit over the years. We were in the elementary schools, we were in Crystal Lake, and we were in Betsy Valley, and then they did ask us to move into the old Platte River building, which we were there for quite a while, and we still had a classroom in Betsy Valley. And when they sold the Platte River building, we had to move out of there and could not find another site anywhere in Benzie County. Our facilities person searched high and low, trying to find us another space. And we were at Betsy Valley though, so we still had the presence in Benzie County, and had a full class list already accepted with kids when Benzie Central decided to do something different with that classroom. And so we had to let those families know that we no longer had a classroom for them. We were able to put a couple of those people in our MESIC classrooms, but not everyone made it into a Head Start classroom. So I'm not sure if they ended up in anything at Benzie Central or not. Once they're not with us, we're not sure where they ended up. But we do still have an early Head Start presence. So early Head Start works with pregnant families or expectant families. Use word expectant better, with expectant families and with children 0 to 3. And we have both a home visiting program, which is a weekly home visit, and we also partner with First Steps for 8 slots at their site, which we currently have. All of those slots are filled, and those are the 0 to 3 slots. Our children there can attend up to 5 10-hour days each week, and the programming runs for 4 to 6 weeks a year. All the food, diapers, and wipes are all provided, and First Steps is participating in the diaper grant that Northwest Michigan Community Action Agency is facilitating this year. We will have, we may have one opening there shortly. Our wait list has 3 people on it, but none of those qualify for DHHS subsidy, which is one of the things that our Collaborative Center Early Head Start families are required to apply for that DHHS subsidy. And they don't all have to actually qualify, but we do need to have a certain percentage. And that one opening that's coming up is one of those people, and so we're not sure how we'll fill that one. But I was also talking, so we do have a home visiting program, and Kathy, our home visitor, does serve both Benzie and Leelanau, but she has currently has 7 families that she visits on a weekly basis. And, 1 Leelanau family and 2 that are, homeless families. So 1 family that was originally a Benzie County family and 1 originally a, Leelanau County family. She is going to have some openings this coming year. So our home visiting program, we can always use, we are always recruiting for our early Head Start programs because they do run year round. Our early Head Start home visiting program is a year round program, whereas our preschool programs are, basically during the school year. Our mission centers on addressing community needs and fostering collaborations to improve services. Our aim is to reintroduce Head Start preschool services to Benzie County, as we recognize the value that this program can provide. But finding space that is licensable is essential to this goal. And second, we struggle with that same thing over all of our 10 counties, so you guys are not alone in that. Well, if and when we can find that licensable space, our classroom could accommodate 16 children, with the possibility of future program expansion depending on demonstrated community need.
Right, thank you, Kim. As she mentioned, we know affordability is definitely a major factor as parents are seeking childcare in our area. And also, of course, the providers need to be able to make enough to keep their centers going. So I'd love to highlight a program called TriShare, and Ashley was going to share a little bit about how it works at Whistle Stop.
So TriShare is a great program. There are a lot of different places within the Northwest region that participate, a lot of employers. Essentially, essentially what the program is, an employer can offer this TriShare benefit to their staff. And so Whistle Stop is chosen, as well as First Steps, but Whistle Stop is chosen to be a TriShare employer. And what that entails is I sign up as an employer. It means I am dedicated to give 33% off, 33% of my employees' childcare costs off of their regular tuition. That means that the other 66% is split between my employee and the state of Michigan. So my employees currently only pay 33% of what the general public would pay for childcare costs because I am a TriShare employer. And it has really helped me with a couple of great employees I have that have kiddos that just couldn't justify working for what I was going to have to charge them for childcare. And now they get significantly more on their paycheck taken from each week because I offer that service to them.
Wonderful, thank you, Ashley, for sharing. And just as a reference point, I know many of you are familiar with the ALICE population, that is asset limited income constrained employed. And so those are often people who can't qualify for the state subsidies, but also are struggling to make it month to month. We have 25% of households in Benzie County that fall into that category. And I'm just wondering if Katie and Rebecca can kind of share a little bit about how many of their kiddos qualify for some kind of subsidy.
So we have, like 75% of our kids are on some kind of subsidy, 8 of our early Head Start kids. And then, I also have 5 kids that do receive DHHS, and then a couple of TriShare. So the majority of the children enrolled in my program are on subsidy.
So we offer GSRP classrooms at all 3 of our elementary buildings. And then we also that's 4-year-olds, and they families have to meet the 250 percentile to qualify, and that's free programming for children age eligible and income eligible. And so those are 3 of our classrooms. One of our classrooms is the Strong Beginnings classroom, which is currently a pilot through the state, and that is for 3-year-olds. So it's a 3-year-old program. And I think GSRP went up to 300 this year. So it's 300% instead of 250. So that expanded our ability to serve more students. especially those who might not be able to afford the cost of childcare, but want their children in programming. Strong Beginnings is 250%, and it's a pilot through the state, so it's looking at high quality programming for 3-year-olds, and 2 years of high quality programming before they go into kindergarten. So a majority of our classrooms are run through that GSRP, and I think all but 5 of our students in our preschool rooms fall into those categories. And one of the 5 that doesn't fall into that category is a DHS subsidy student. We accept DHS subsidy. Currently, we only have, I think, we have 1 family taking advantage of it in our preschool rooms. But in our like before and after care programming, for the school age students, we do have a couple more families taking advantage of that. We did have a tri-share family, but they currently don't use it because they had a job change, so their current employers.
All right, and then Kim and Sue, can you just share some comments or reactions or just things you've heard from parents as far as if they've been searching for daycare, any concerns or barriers? And it's definitely if affordability has been a major barrier.
Yes, affordability is the number one. There was a poll or a survey taken by Networks Northwest last year or the year before, and the cost ranked up there at 65.5% of those families looking for childcare. The cost was not attainable. So with that, flip side, let's go back. All right. The affordability, there's also the availability of like a localized childcare. Like Ashley had mentioned a bit ago, she's like in between Traverse City and Frankfurt, so she is that stopping point until they can find something in Traverse City. So the availability, the closeness of those, many of the surveyed parents, I don't have that percentage down, but if it was a 2-parent family, then one of those parents would opt to stay home as opposed to paying the high cost of childcare. I fell into that myself when I had our twins 12 years ago. The cost of going back to work with childcare, I would have been working, and I had a very good paying job. I would have been working for childcare, which I don't begrudge that payment at all, because I think it's so important. But I would have been paying childcare to go to work, and that would have been it. And I think that's where a lot of our parents are falling into. Some would change jobs because of the cost of childcare. They would have to try and find a better paying job, find something a little closer at home, maybe pass up promotion because of the proximity or the childcare providers that were available.
So often families just aren't able to work, like Sue was saying, one of the parents ends up having to stay home because the cost of daycare is just, it doesn't, and if they don't qualify for DHHS, then they fall into that Alice population where they don't qualify for services, but they can't afford other things. So, yeah, it really makes it very hard for, and you wonder why people aren't working. It's there's no daycare that they can afford to send the kids to.
Yeah, thank you. Another question for our daycare providers is just as you're looking forward to the future, the next 5 years, do you anticipate any growing or building of your facility to be able to expand your capacity, or what are you thinking about in the future?
You know, personally, for my facility, it's the size of our building. We're we're maxed out at where we're at. Our lot just doesn't have any additional space to build on. So, but for our area, for the Thompsonville area, for our little corner of Benzie County, 52 is a very hefty number, and so we feel like we're making a difference with what we're doing right now.
So space, Benzie Schools, we did just, a year ago, open the brand new space at Lake Eon for our early childhood wing. So we have the 3 brand new classrooms there, and then, at Homestead Hills, the beautiful new building, and we have 3 classroom spaces there. So at this time, we're not looking at expanding, but there's always the potential of staffing and universal pre-K for all.
I am very space limited in my building. Our preschool classroom's only licensed for 7 kids. And one teacher can have 8 kids, so that is the problem. I have been looking in the Frankfurt area for a long time. I would love to rent a different space, and expand programming. I haven't found a spot yet. So if anybody knows of it, here to rent, that I can license. But yeah, we would definitely expand if we had a different space.
Wonderful, thank you for sharing. And I know Katie had just mentioned universal pre-K for all. That is part of the governor's plan. That in the next few years, that 4-year-old preschool will be covered through an expansion through the GSRP program. And I'm really wondering, from your perspective, from your agencies or businesses, how will that affect your centers? So why don't we start with Ashley?
I think for everybody, there's still just a lot of questions that surround universal pre-K. Some of my questions kind of come in concern of what qualifications might my staff need to additionally get, and how could they get those? How would funding work? How would classroom ratios work? So I love the idea of universal pre-K. I love the idea of getting more 4-year-olds in our building, ready to prepare them a little bit better for kindergarten. But I think for a lot of providers in general, there's just a lot of questions that surround what that might look like. And of course, I think every provider at some point worries that if universal pre-K becomes a thing and the schools tend to house those, are childcare providers now looking only to fill spots for 0 to 3 because all of the 4-year-olds will be in a school program setting. So I think that a lot of questions still sit with everybody on that.
I would echo, Ashley, right now, a majority of our programs are through the state funded program, through GSRP or Strong Beginnings. So I think it would just look like, right now, we don't have any more room to put any more 4-year-olds. And so what does that look like? I'm not sure, but I think that's an important conversation for our community to have.
I agree. I also have like a classroom full of 3-year-olds that will be looking for a spot in the fall. And where does that land them if our classrooms are full of 4-year-olds? And I do have a classroom for 3-year-olds, but will those 3-year-olds qualify for DHHS? Will they have funding to continue in a tuition program? Are all questions that are out there.
Thank you. I think we have time for if you have any last insights or something that you would like to share with this group as far as some challenges in the childcare area.
I would just like to highlight, Sarah, thank you. One of my providers in the Benzie Family Childcare Network. We have been talking a lot about the affordability of childcare. But as the provider, as her perspective, she said, as a provider, I love, care, teach, and feed their child for $5 an hour. I don't know any other career or job that does so very much for so very little. We need to focus more on making sure that these childcare providers, our first educators, get the recognition, they get Gosh, they should get the moon as well as our teachers. Because they're the first step in educating their kids. So they deserve everything.
Very well said. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah May. We appreciate your help with moderating this panel. And I thank all of our panelists for shining a better light on this huge issue for our families and our businesses. Next up, I would like to welcome Marilyn Passmore, Director, State Government Affairs for Charter Spectrum Communications, to give us an update on broadband. Joey should have a slideshow for her.
Thank you.
Okay. Good morning. Can you hear me? She says it's intuitive, we'll see. You have my slideshow up there?
Yeah.
Joe, it should be a broadband slideshow.
Here we go.
There we go. Yep. It's a beautiful picture.
Yeah. That was the tail end of the Benzie Valley trip. We'll find it.
All right, there we go. Good morning, good morning. So I'm Marilyn Passmore. I'm the State Director of Government Affairs for Charter Spectrum. Charter Communications is our legal name, Spectrum is our brand. So you'll hear us use those words interchangeably, and I'm a long-term Charter employee, so I'd probably say Charter more than my Spectrum colleagues who are here with me today. And it's an honor to be here. I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk about our broadband expansion, not only in Benzie County, but across the nation. So I'm gonna make sure I try and get this correctly. It's not. Can we go a slide ahead for me? Yes, no? I have to tell a joke, do a song.
Yeah. I want you to dance. Is it working, man?
No. There we go. All right, thank you. So Charter is a large national company. We operate in 41 states. We have over 100,000 employees, all US based. All of our call centers are in the United States. That's a point of pride for us. And that was something we did several years ago, about 10 years ago, we brought all of our call centers back. That was a direct response to customer feedback. As a company, we pass 55 million addresses in the United States, but we have 32 million customers. So there still are people who could connect, but don't. We'll talk about that in a moment. As I mentioned, over 100,000 employees and 800,000 miles of network. I don't know where I'm pointing. It's not asked. Can you go ahead for me? One more. Can you move the slide ahead? There we go. Okay. In Michigan, about 1,700 employees, about 33,000 miles of network. We, all of our employees come in at $20 an hour. I listened to some of the comments about pay, and I certainly support that. We have increased our starting pay over time to attract and also keep employees. I'm sitting with Justin, who's been with the company 10 years. I've been with the company 22 years. Tom, sitting next to Justin, 10 weeks. We are constantly pulling people in to come and work for our company. An exciting benefit that we announced this year is Charter employees, Spectrum employees, full-time, can go back to college and our company will pay it 100%. That's an incredible benefit. I have a manager on my team who's now going to school at night to get his MBA, 100% paid for by the company. Again, we have to be fluid and creative, that not only
bringing in employees, but keeping employees. In 2022, we expanded our network to over 21,000 addresses. I can't even imagine what the number's gonna be for 23. I haven't seen it yet. But as an employee who's on the Spectrum Rural Broadband Build team, and I see how much we're building and how quickly we're building, I know that number is gonna be eclipsed. On an ongoing basis, we invest millions into our network. So it's not just building the network, but it's also, right, the people, paying our people well, full benefits, like, as I mentioned, college education covered, long-term savings, retirement, etc. But then investing in our network. Think about the size of our network being in 41 states. Something simple like cybersecurity, right? We have people who come to work for us from the FBI, from the CIA. They work in corporate physical security. They manage the security of the network so that when someone takes our service, they have full confidence that they have a secure network to be connected to. You can advance the slide for me, please. So this map's a little bit hard to see, but in gray is our existing network. We are across multi-states. In blue is where we're building with the Federal Rural Digital Opportunity Fund. This is just one of many programs happening in the broadband space, but I'm really excited about it because I'm on the build team. So you can see that it's across multiple states. It's 24 states where we've been awarded federal funding to expand. And that funding is to truly unserved census blocks. These are the most rural of rural America. These are areas where there hasn't been a business case to be able to build before because of the economics to try to expand the network. So as a company, we're adding an additional 115,000 miles of network. And this is a project that's going to expand not only our network, but reach for millions of Americans. What's really cool is, somebody told me that distance is equal to going to the moon and back several times. Can you expand the next slide for me, please? So as we build, our network is all fiber. So we are offering through our RDOF team, which is the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund, 1,000 down by 500 up. Our existing network is already mostly fiber, and we continue to evolve that network. We will be offering gigabit symmetric, meaning gig down, gig up within the year. Just as background, we launched our gig service in Michigan 5 years ago. Most people don't realize that. You hear about gig and you think, oh, that's coming. We've been doing this. This is what we do. And I also want to point out, as a long-term employee, when I started the company, we had just launched 1 megabit service, right? But we didn't carry smartphones, so we needed it. So the network has evolved, the demand has obviously changed. And something else I wanted to mention is, you know, I heard comments earlier today about COVID. As a company that had to navigate COVID, right? We have employees that go into customers' homes. And we really had to pivot on how we manage that. Plus, we were operating across multiple counties, different health authorities, different rules, just trying to navigate that. That was an incredibly trying time for so many of us on many levels. But we grew. We grew by 8,500 employees over the last 4 years. It's amazing, amazing growth as a company. We offer the fastest, most reliable speeds with no modem fees, no contracts, no data caps. And that's also important because as we move around the state, and I talk to many organizations, chambers, county leaders, community leaders, that's what they tell me. Oh man, the data caps are killing us. The parents are trying to do the homework, right, on the parents' phone, and they're constantly having to go over. So those are some of the attractive offerings that we have with our service. You can move ahead, please. Thank you. So this map doesn't represent where we are. The green represents where we won federal funding to expand. And it's not to infer that we won coverage for every county, but we won an award to expand our network in 33 Michigan counties. We are actively building right now in 17. We are going gangbusters to get this done. The federal government gives 8 years for this program. We expect to be completely done
by the end of 26, which is incredible. The amount of funding that our company received was 26.6 million, but our investment is 100 million in Michigan. Because it takes so much capital to expand and to pull our network into these more remote locations. So 4 out of every $5 we spend is coming from our company. And that's, again, a huge investment. Our current network, as I mentioned, is over 30,000 miles. We're adding another 3,000 plus miles of network. And our award was to over 35,000 unserved addresses. We will be building more than 50,000. It's amazing. Next slide, please. Thank you. And thank you for being an awesome slide clicker for me. So this map is the FCC federal award in Benzie County. In that lime green where it says CCO Holdings, that's our legal name, that's where Charter won funding. There's a couple other companies that also were awarded funding in Benzie County, including Cherry Capital and Mercury Wireless. I don't know the status of their bills, you'd be free to ask them, but this is a big deal. This is a big portion of the county that's being covered by just this one initiative. And others earlier talked about Robin grants. We've been very successful applying for and winning Robin grants. There's USDA funding, right? There's a plethora of programs and they're all kind of overlapping each other. But ultimately, what's going to happen is over time, service is going to be available everywhere, which is really exciting. So next slide is my big moment, my most proud moment. We are done. We are done well ahead of schedule. And not only that, we built far more than we were awarded, 185 miles of network. Benzie County is 321 square miles as an example. I mean, obviously it's a bigger county with more than 500 square miles of water, but our network build is massive. We also built more than 500 homes more than we were awarded, because as we move the network along the route to get to some of these unserved portions of the community, we pass, right, homes that are considered served under the FCC definition. So this is a big deal. This is an exciting moment and a proud moment for me as a long-term employee to be able to come out to the chamber. You know, I was here a couple of years ago and we talked about our starting speed had just doubled from 100 to 200. Now our starting speed is 300 megabits. You can get that for about $50 a month. I mean, the network continues to evolve, the company continues to invest, and we just grow. But again, proud moment for us to be able to say, the commissioners had this preview a few months ago and I let them know we were done. But again, when Michelle asked me to come, I'm like, heck yeah, I'm coming. Let me tell you all about it. So if you can go to the next slide, only 2 more slides. This is on the left is all the communities where we already had network. And on the right is where we've expanded. So as you can see, we've expanded into multiple communities, some of which are brand new for us. And that's been fun too. My team and I, we work between the company and all of the local communities that we work in, county leaders, the state leaders, we work with everybody to get those agreements to be operating in the right of way. So again, new to us, communities are enrolled, but these are areas where our network is already available and we're very excited about that. And then last slide, please. And this is how can you find if you're in our area? Well, you can, in your phone, search Spectrum Rural Expansion. There's sheets in the back, an announcement of our completion here in Benzie County with a QR code. You can scan that, or you can actually go to the link and put in your information. If you're in a serviceable area, you will already be rerouted to our sales site and you can start getting quotes for service. So with that, that's my good news. Happy to be here. And I thought it'd be fun just because we've all been sitting and you get kind of stiff. So I told Michelle, I put together a little swag bag of goodies. So.
And I have a lottery in my phone for all the registered attendees that I'm gonna hit the wheel. And oh my, are you kidding me? Jim Gribble, who wins every freaking thing.
He won the Spectrum swag bag. Thank you.
And just so I have a witness,
It does say random winner, right? It says random winner. Swear this, I don't know how this happens, but. Thank you, Marianne. We appreciate the forward thinking that Spectrum is building into its infrastructure. At this time, I do want to recognize the City of Frankfurt Housing Commission, the Frankfurt Area Community Land Trust, Habitat for Humanity, Benzie County, Homestretch Housing, the Benzie County Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, and the Benzie County Land Bank. I know that's a lot, who have been adding attainable housing or support for that to our communities. However, there is much work to be done to shed some light on this issue and the needs for Benzie County. I would like to welcome Yara Brown, Director of Housing North, to give us a housing update. Welcome, Yara. We'll use this one. Thanks for having me, and it's really awesome to be in this beautiful theater. I think you've heard a lot of really exciting updates already, and I just want to recognize how not just the city of Frankfurt, but also Benzie County has really embraced housing, the needs for housing in your community, and just, recognize the amazing effort. Josh Mills, who's now the president of Housing North's board, is sought after by many a community to come talk about, what is the magic sauce that Frankfurt is really doing to address housing. So I just want to recognize that you are all really leading in the housing space, and thank you for that. For those of you who don't know Housing North, I'll leave some information in the back, but we cover all 10 counties in Northwest Michigan. We do not build housing or put people in housing, but we are the voice for housing in our region. We focus on communications and awareness, policy and advocacy, and capacity building all around housing. And I'm just going to share a few kind of top highlights in those areas, but I first want to recognize the newest addition to our team. He is from Benzie County, Casey Ottinger, is now our new Director of Community Engagement. So he is really going to help us engage, not just in Benzie County, but in all 187 units of government. So how many of you know somebody in your community that is struggling to find housing? Right, so almost everybody. It is a big issue, and I wanna, I don't have a magic solution. I don't have all the money in the world to just fix it, but we are certainly trying at Housing North. We were really successful at bringing some new tools to the region, along with many of our partners, and Frankfurt has already adopted 2 of those, these 2 new districts. And so really we're working with communication, awareness, and getting those tools into our communities using examples that Frankfurt and others have already done. You can find links to all of those on our website. And we also have tools for the communities, like a communication toolkit and housing ready checklist, which are just about to be updated. So they were done in 2020 pre-pandemic, and now we have some new resources, links, and stories to tell about really how our region is leading around housing in the state. I also just want to say we'll have a dashboard soon. So we have a housing needs assessment that helps us understand the need in our region. In Benzie County, you need about 1,500 units. So many of those are being built and in progress, but when you look at the spectrum, so Housing North works all across the income spectrum, focusing on housing for all. But most of the need for rentals in your community is for those making 50% of the area median income or less. And most of the need for home ownership is in that workforce housing category, but we really need affordable housing across the spectrum, and the more units we have that have a diversity of price points and opportunities, the better. I also want to mention that we are the lead for the Regional Housing Partnership, and we have a regional plan in Northwest Michigan. So if you're not a part of that, or you want to learn more, you can go on our website. But in that plan, it gives us an opportunity to say what we want to do. Obviously, we need more housing, but how we are going to have an implementation plan and really meet the need of that, the housing needs assessment number. So Benzie County needs 1,500 units, but in all 10 counties, we need over 32,000 units to meet the need for housing. We're not going to get there. That would be if everybody was housed, and that would be a huge reach, but every day we're going to try to get as many housing units through this plan and then through our many partnerships. We need your help though to keep our voice in Lansing and to help make sure resources come to Northwest Michigan. And thankfully Betsy Kofia and many others were able to get support for Northwest Michigan. So I can say as of February 1st, we can provide technical support to all 10 counties in Northwest Michigan through that grant. And in just a week or so, we'll be deploying somebody to help support Benzie County. So if you aren't aware, through many in this room, we have a housing collaborative that meets on the last Thursday of every month. You can sign up, email me to let me know, but we either do it in person, sometimes at Benzie or the county, and then we also have a Zoom link. So if you want to be a part of that collaborative, please join. But this month, so February 29th, we'll be introducing the new technical support staff at that meeting and also talking about how we can best deploy this resource in your community. So email me to sign up, but we also need you to be a voice in Lansing and talk to your legislators because Senate Bill 293 right now limits the amount of funding that's available for housing for those making above 60% of the AM. So we really need all of our House representatives to really support this bill when it comes to them, but also look at other initiatives that not only Housing North, but the Housing Michigan Coalition, Northwest Michigan Chamber Alliance, and others are working on, especially around just tools for Northwest Michigan. So in the budget, you will see the governor announced a lot of incredible things, but we want to keep those in there. So any help with that, and then also the new Office of Rural Prosperity, which is something Housing North really advocated for, really ensuring they have funding so they can support our rural communities, not just around housing, but childcare, broadband, all these other topics that are really important. So what else? I know you all are ready to go eat some yummy lunch, the second to last speaker, so I don't want to put you to sleep. But I think capacity is really where the focus is on this year. So look for information about how not only Benzie County, but other initiatives are coming to support housing in those gaps in financing. So while we need grants, we also need low interest loans and ways to bring more funding to our region. So we're working on that at Housing North and more is coming. And the last thing I think I'll say is that if you're interested in innovation and new things around housing, we have a Housing Innovation Council and our next meeting is March 11th. So you can sign up on our website and we'll be talking about 3D printing and some new technologies around housing. So thank you. I'll stick around for lunch, be here to answer questions, and just know that we're doing our best to help Benzie County meet their housing goals. So thank you.
Thank you, Yara. We appreciate the work that Housing North has done for Benzie County and the region, especially when it comes to getting state funding allocated to our rural area. We have some chamber updates, Joe, so if you could pop up that background. Benzie County is home to now 1, but 2 chambers of commerce. While we both are focused on bettering our community, we actually operate very differently from one another. As our guest and host community for this year's summit, we would like to welcome Jessica Carlin, board chairperson for the Frankfurt, Alberta Chamber of Commerce, to give us an update on their organization. And there's a flag share screen.
Practice first. I'll try to keep this short and sweet, kind of like me. So thank you for the opportunity to be here with you today. Some more of our major changes recently, you may have read in the paper, we've had some changes on our board. I see one new board member in the audience here, Mary. Thank you for raising your hand. If somebody else is here, anybody else here? Sue's here, where's Sue? Sue's back there, so any board members, raise your hand so everybody knows who you are. So after a combined 55 years of service, we had 2 board members retire, Jim Martin and Mike Jones, if you're familiar with them from the community. We welcomed Mary from Honor Bank and Jim Richardson from State Savings Bank. They're great additions to the board. We had a changing of the guard after 7 years serving as board president. Andrew Johnson retired, not from the board, just from the position. He's taken over as vice president. And I just want to point out when you're looking at the members of the board here, Currently, we have 103 years of serving the Frankfurt, Alberta business community, sitting on our board, so I think that's pretty impressive. And if Jim and Mike hadn't retired, it'd be more like 175. So as I reflect over the past year, I'm so proud of all that the Frankfurt, Alberta Chamber has accomplished. We've sponsored 29 local events, welcomed a record number of visitors to the 4th of July fireworks and weekend. Given a bigger focus to our digital presence, we've reached over 1.7 million people on our social media accounts, which we're really proud of. Grown our chamber membership and distributed 7,500 community maps, which highlight all of the businesses in the Frankfurt, Alberta area. So, here we go. We've begun the process of developing a new 5-year strategic plan. We've recently launched a survey to help determine how we as a chamber can better serve the business community now and into the future. So member or no member, if you have not taken the survey, get out your smartphones, please scan the code, take the survey. If you'd like a hard copy, we can get that for you as well. As we go through this process, we're proud to reflect on the accomplishments of our previous plan, including growing our partnerships with TC Tourism, the Benzie Chamber, other larger tourist agencies across the state to increase the promotion of our area. We've established Frankfurt and Alberta as a highly desirable 4th of July location. We all know we're the best 4th of July location in the world. And we focused really on growing the shoulder season. So Fall Festival, Holly Berry, maybe look for some sort of winter festival in the years coming. You probably know that we've moved from Main Street to the bottom of Gateway Hill, right kitty corner from the A&W. Our new office location has increased visibility to the chamber and in turn our membership. We've welcomed more people that have never stopped in Frankfurt or Alberta before, and they're on their way somewhere else. So that's been really exciting. If you want to see the finished interior, you're going to have to stop by. And with this new location, stable membership, and a good financial base, we feel like we're finally in position to grow and increase our connections with the community and our visitors. That's all.
Thank you, Jennifer. I'll give you a full calendar for the Frankfurt, Alberta Chamber this year. And as always, they're always looking for fireworks money, so if you have some money, they would like some for better fireworks. Last, but certainly not least, I would like to invite Mercedes Boyer, my board chairperson for the Benzie Area Chamber of Commerce, to give an update on our organization. Welcome, Mercedes. I don't need two, I don't think. I do not have section, so we don't need to advance lines. On behalf of the Benzie Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, I wanted to thank you all for coming out today and joining us for your morning, sacrificing some time. And we want to thank our speakers and panelists. I think each year the summit grows and gets more and more relevant and really provides great information to the community. So I'll do a quick update on the chamber. As you may or may not know, we have sold the building that the chamber and CDB have occupied for many, many years. But the great thing is we will still be retaining office space in that location, so our address won't change. And so one other thing that the board is embarking on is a robust strategic planning session. Just with all the changes that we're seeing in Benzie County, we want to assess our current programs and discover how we can better serve not only our members, but our wider community as well. At the end of 2023, our membership has grown to 257 members. And over the course of the year, we've had over 560 people attend our chamber events. So if you're looking for a way to get your business out there, sponsorship is a great opportunity. If you're not a member and you're curious, please see Michelle. to inquire about that. Your membership supports the chamber in attracting, supporting, and representing the business community and improving social and economic development in the region. So I'm just gonna wrap with again, another thank you for attending, to our speakers and panelists, and a reminder that we have a terrific lunch next door at Hotel Frankfurt. And an opportunity to network with some of our members and attendees at the summit, so. Thanks, Mercedes. I am excited about plans for our new and evolved Benzie Chamber. Just as a reminder, the Benzie Chamber is part of the Northern Michigan Chamber Alliance. We are now ever expanding, we're now 17 chambers of commerce and economic development organizations strong. That we advocate for legislative advocacy, as well as economic development in rural Michigan communities that includes the entire UP, the pinky, the thumb, and all of those good things. I want to thank each and every one of you for attending today. We hope that you leave informed and aware of these great topics in our community. We look forward to bringing you continued quality programming, advocacy, and awareness to build a better Benzie. At this time, we would like to again thank our sponsors, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, Charter Spectrum Communications, DTE Energy, Chris Hackbarth is here, Honor Bank, Honor Onekama Building Supply. Last fall was Doug's 60th birthday, as well as the 60th anniversary of the store. So give them a pat for that. State Savings Bank, Traverse City Tourism, always a pleasure, and Weber Insurance for helping us put on such a great event. We would like to welcome you to join us next door for lunch at the Nautical Grill and Spirits inside Hotel Frankfurt that is sponsored by Traverse City Tourism. Please present your lunch ticket that you were given at check-in to access the buffet. And one last reminder is the Advocates of Benzie County, Best Benzie County, and NMC will be hosting that listening session right back here at 1 o'clock. If you'd like to know more information on possibly including Benzie County into the NMC district. I thank you so much for coming today. There's lots of literature on the table back there from all of our organizations, from Dr. Pafia and Senator Bumstead. So pick up some literature on the way out, and I bid you to have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Couldn't have done it without you.